What's up, Sagittarius? Welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and I'm hoping you're having a great week so far. So, what I'm going to be doing is a tarot card reading for the week of October 9th through the 15th. And for those of you who are new, which is everybody right now, this is a general reading, not a one-on-one, so take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me. Never try to force a message on the situation, okay? So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into your reading. Your space is cleansed. The gems are ready to play. So the cards. And we're going to be doing, well, you're going to be chilling. I'm going to be pulling 15 cards. They're going to be 5 groups of 3. The middle section is going to be the nature of your problem. The upper left and upper right hand corners are going to be some possible future options you might be considering. The bottom left is going to be, it's like the psychological basis of the problem, or how it can assist you, maybe provide some perspectives on how to assist you with the nature, with the problem, words. And then on the bottom right is going to be how your higher self is working behind the scenes. Because apparently mine went to lunch because I forgot all my English, which is fine. He deserves a break. With that being said, oh, one more thing. If you are curious, I'm using the Aleister Crowley's Thoth deck. Imagery on this deck is loud, and it's really cool art here. So this is what I'm trying to say. He's still on lunch. Let's go ahead and get your cards pulled. You know, while I'm trying to serve up a word salad over here, let's serve up some tarot. All right, nice. Thank you, higher self. Appreciate your help always. Let's see what is in store for Sagittarius this week. Okie dokie. Let me get these a little more straightened up a little bit. Alrighty. Dope. Okay. So, for the nature of your problem, you have the Hanged Man. And the cards that came with it are the 6 of Wands and the 10 of Swords. So with the Hanged Man, the Hanged Man is about, first and foremost, he's kind of about, sorry, I'm moving some cards up. Okay. The Hanged Man is about, he's kind of about redemption through sacrifice. You know, he's a card, you know, maybe, you know, this week, you know, I don't know if maybe something hasn't been, I feel like something hasn't been working right this week, you know. What am I trying to get with this Hanged Man? Honestly, what I'm leaning more towards is that he can also mean, you know, bringing in a fresh perspective, and that's more so what I'm feeling from him. I feel like this week it's calling you to come at things with a bit of, with just like a new perspective, with a new view, because with the Hanged Man, he's hanging because, you know, he's been trying to do the same thing. I feel like he's the card, you know, you're trying the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And at some point, you know, the universe is like, well, you're not listening, so I'm going to flip you upside down, and maybe you'll hear me then. And I think that's what's happening this week. I feel like this is calling you to change things up. You know, if you've been in a routine, you know, it might be time to kind of just do something to kind of shake that up. Take a new route to work. You know, put your clothes on differently. You brush your teeth the same way. Switch the rotation. Just any little thing to kind of help bring some fresh perspective into this guy, so that he can stop hanging. You know, all the blood's rushing to his head. It's good to. I feel like with the Hanged Man, the question I always get with him is, how long do you want to stay upside down? You know, you can do this forever, but that would be silly. You know, let's, at some point, you know, I'm skipping ahead. I am going to talk about the 6 of Wands, but at some point, you know, the 10 of Swords, I like to think of this card as it's like heralding the end of delusions. You know, it's about or like it's about like faulty reasoning, you know, more so that I feel like it's no, which is like this like almost the same thing, but you know, this is like, you know, this is asking you, I feel like, to be more just to be more be just to be more clever, you know, really kind of, I think, like, think outside of the box, you know. If you know, I feel like if you keep doing something for a certain way for so long, you just end up getting bitter, and it's going to lead you to ruin. Where I feel like where you should be more channeling your energy is to is into the Six of Wands. The Six of Wands is about balanced energy. You know, this is like you kind of getting back on track. You know, this is a card of victory, of love. It's yeah, I feel like this is where you're trying. This is where you need to end up this week. You know, we need to get you back in alignment. You know, this is triumph after strife, and it's just like I feel like with this combination, is the question is, how much strife are you willing to put up with? You know, do you want to say you can stay in this Ten of Swords all day, but at some point, you know, you get tired of hanging upside down. You're the blood's rushing to your head. Your face is all hot. I don't like being upside down all day. Let's go ahead and let's try to do some love. You know, let's bring some victory and some loving in the mix. You know, and I think when I say love, and I mean love for yourself, because why, you know, with after you've gone through, I don't know, with the sacrifice, you know, with the hangman, you know, when you hear the word sacrifice, it's like, oh wait, what do I got to give up? I don't want to give up like an arm or something. It's like, no, it doesn't have to be that serious. I feel like this is just simply saying, you know, you've been through a lot dealing with this. You know, it's you know, changing the way you view things. It can be tricky. You know, trying to keep an open mind. So it's like, you know, celebrating that. That's a win. You know, if you can get through this hump. We're going out for dinner tonight. Take your loved ones, take your kids, take whatever, you know, take your friends. But this is the Six of Wands is a triumph. So I feel like you know, take this time this week. Don't spend upside down too long, you know. But you know, definitely, you know, but take the initiative to just to try to get to a different different headspace, you know, because if you're saying that Ten of Swords mentality, it will ruin you. And then it's just going to take you that much, not to where it's like you'll never get back up, but it's just, you know, and I was actually just joking with a friend about this. It's just like, you know, some people, it's like, you know, you'll see the thing and it's just like, you know, you're aware of the issue, but sometimes we like taking the long way, and that's okay. You know, get your I get it. You know, everyone heals kind of differently, you know, processes things differently, but it's just I feel like this is just making sure to tell you to process it, you know, that something isn't working here and it's time to reassess. You know, that's ultimately what I am kind of getting with this energy for you this week, as far as your problem. So just kind of saying, hang with it. You know, it's not the hangman doesn't last forever. You know, there's always light at the end of the tunnel, and I especially feel like with this, especially with the Six of Wands being here, and honestly, the Ten of Swords. The Ten of Swords is not as bad as I feel like it can come across to be. It can definitely be bad, but I feel like with anything else, and we're gonna get to these other cards in a moment. Like with these, got a Seven of Disc over here. The cards that look kind of gloomy, kind of like that are like ominous and whatnot. These are just like reminders of like where we might not be putting our where we might have gotten a little lax. You know, we've haven't been being as mindful in something as we should. You might have been focusing somewhere else, and now we've kind of like you've fallen into this trap, and the universe set up this, like, you know, in those cartoons where you step in that little rope, the rope noose, and it like pulls you up in the tree or by your ankle. That's what the Hanged Man is. This is kind of like the universe just like, hey, all right, I don't want a tower moment, because I feel like there's not a need for that. So we're just gonna let's do some introspection this week. That's the name of the game. So yeah, I won't harp on that too long. But that's intuitively that's what I'm getting with this nature, or with this problem. Let's see. In terms of the future, yeah, I'm leaning. Let's start with, because both are pretty. Let's start with. I'm gonna start with the right hand side. On the right hand side here, I pulled the Five of Cups, the Two of Wands, and the Prince of Disc. So with the Five of Cups, I feel like the Five of Cups is a card of, disappointments, regrets, heartache, maybe like an unexpected disturbance, maybe this unexpected disturbance might be what disturbance might be what led to this Hanged Man. Yeah, Five of Cups to me, this is about, I don't know, I feel like maybe you've made a decision and you're like, fuck, that was not even, I shouldn't have done that. And you know those, when we have those moments where it's just like, oh man, I really, really screwed up. And, I feel like that's good. It's good in the sense to acknowledge that, but don't wallow in it, because I feel like with the Five of Cups, when it says disappointment, it could be in another person, but usually I feel like it's, I can't think of people who usually disappoint me. I feel like if I've been disappointed, it's usually been in myself for something that could have been done. So this could be you as well. Take that as it resonates. That's kind of what I'm getting here. But, however, I do feel like you are kind of returning to balance. The Two of Wands here, this is about kind of getting your energy back in alignment. This is Mars and Aries here, so that's natural. Mars is Aries' ruler, and Aries is about trailblazing. They're the go-getters. They're getting things started. So this could be, maybe when you're getting ready to go at this with your whatever the situation is that led to this Hangman, when you're going at it with a new perspective, keep in mind this Two of Wands energy, coming in, because this is fire in its higher form. It's like, this is like a force of nature here. This is about it's about harmony and boldness and all of that. So I feel like, once you get that perspective, really kind of stick through with it. And you have the Prince of Disc here as well, and I feel like the Prince is kind of similar. Well, not similar, but what I'm getting with the Prince of Disc here, the princes could represent people. I think it might represent you. You might have, but it could be another person as well. But with the Prince of Disc here, this represents someone who's, they're strategic in how they have everything laid out. He's not one that's going to be. He's planned for the year. He's very responsible. He's got he's I think of all those like P words, patient, perseverance, all of that. I guess I got two. This is that's him. He's the most negative thing I could say about him is that like he can come across like a bit dull, and maybe he's a type that's like, I gotta see it to believe it, as opposed to maybe being in touch with spirituality. But it's I don't know if that's even really, it's stuff that's like not even really worth mentioning. He's more so he gives me kind of like managerial vibes. He's like a good supervisor. He's just very responsible, and I feel like that's kind of what this is. I feel like with one feature, this is kind of asking you to be responsible with this power. Going into, after you've dealt with this Hanged Man situation, it's going to take some work, but you're going to be able to persevere through that. I feel like you are coming back to to like equilibrium, if you will. And I think that, with that time, with a little patience and, putting in that work, because he's a hard worker too. He's, all this behind him didn't happen by itself. He's got, this orb here, it has like different geometrical shapes, and they're supposed to have some like equations, I think, are in there. I can't, well, we're going to say he's got something going on in here. But, he's definitely, he's a planner. He's, steadfast. I feel like that's, for some of you, I feel like that's what's going to really kind of help you get through this Hanged Man situation, is just to kind of brush off, okay, what happened with this Five of Cups, that it wasn't great, but, What did we learn from that? How can we take the lesson from that? How can we stop hanging ourselves, taking that and moving this energy out? And I think that it's going to take it's going to require just a little bit of patience, but little patience, but perseverance and some initiative as well, to get through this. So that's one aspect of the future. Take that as it resonates. On the other side here, you have, and it's kind of similar energies here. You have the Three of Discs, you have the Seven of Discs, and then you have the Three of Wands. And with the Three of Discs, I feel like with these discs here, they kind of complement each other. They definitely complement each other, being disc. Mind that you love my lovely ambient music back here. I thought, nothing like a little sirens to make sure you're paying attention. With the Three of Disc, that's about it's about work. It's about starting up a new project. Yeah, really, this is Capricorn energy, Mars and Capricorn. You got a lot of Mars. You have a lot of Mars energy too. I'm not sure where your Mars placement is, but I feel like this is. I feel like with this here, this is just asking. I feel like some of you maybe are picking up on a new project. In your. I don't know. I feel like right now. Because it's interesting that you have the Three of Discs and the Seven of Discs next to each other, because the Three of Discs is about starting a project, and the Seven of Discs it has failure here, but I feel like it's failure in the sense of like unmet goals, or not starting a project, or about maybe it's just like, you might be one who gets something started but never quite follows through, and I think that's with this Seven of Discs, that's so interesting that they would be right next to each other. I feel like this is maybe you wanted to start something, maybe you had an idea of how like a project was going to be, or maybe how you were going to how are you about to tackle something, whether it be whatever that endeavor is, but something got in the way. Maybe maybe you're like, oh, I don't know if is it gonna be like fiscally responsible, am I gonna be is this going to be worth my time? I'd hate to put in all this work and then for it to fail. And I totally get that, but I think that this is kind of calling you to just to kind of follow through. I don't think if you plan to fail, then you're going to fail, obviously. And I feel like this is here with this. Let's throw in this Three of Wands in the mix, and I think that'll give a more complete picture. With this Three of Wands, I feel like this is asking you, what do you hold dear to you? This is about success after struggle, realization of hope, established strength. But I feel like this is, with the Three of Wands, it's kind of like asking you, what do you hold? This is like asking you, where do you want to put your energy? What do you consider virtuous, I guess, in a sense, where do you want to channel that? And then I feel like when you realize that, where do you want to put this energy, that hope is going to spark, because that does, mainly with the Three of Wands, I do get that as a realization of hope, so I feel like when you're getting ready to work on this endeavor, just follow through. Of course, you could sit in there with like, oh, well, what if I fail, but what if you succeed? then what? I dare you to think, what if you succeed? And then watch what you manifest. And that's something to be careful too. There's power in words. It's one thing, we kind of get caught in like our thoughts and whatnot. But you have to be careful about that, because if you keep manifesting that stuff, they start off as thoughts, and then they work themselves out into words, and then the universe is listening. You put that shit out there, it's gonna give you shit back. So I think that with this one's too, it's like, once you're getting out of this thing, maybe to get, once you're getting out of this hangman, starting this new project, doing some construction, This could, now that I'm kind of sitting, had a chance to kind of talk it out. This could also be the project could be you. Like what if I, what if I don't, I've only done one thing. I being you, Sagittarius. I've only done one thing, this certain way for so long. If I'm the type that ain't broke, don't fix it. But it's obviously broken because you're hanging upside down. You can't tell me it's working. So this is, I feel like this is time. What do you hold virtuous to yourself? What but it's either way is going to require work. That's the moral of that story, really, of both stories. This is, however you go about it is going to require some kind of work. There's always that option of what if, but and that's honestly going to leave me perfect here. Let's move down here while I'm on this what if thing, because that really kind of ties nicely to these next few cards. For where your heads might be at, or the psychological basis of it, you have the Princess of Swords, the Nine of Disc, and the Hierophant. And why I said that about up here, talking about that destructive kind of mentality is, that's the Princess of Swords. She's super, really intelligent, really cunning, but she's got this destructive logic. She's kind of, I don't want to say she can be petty, but kind of, she's the type that she gets stuck in her head a lot. I feel like she makes the only enemy here. When you look at her background, it looks like she's under attack, but really it's just like her place is just, it's smoking. These are it looks like her place is on fire. There's a lot of action going on up here, but it's just her. It's just her in all of this, and I feel like this is, she's, you get so, I feel like sometimes you can get so lost in this, like, all of this. Let's go ahead and let's just go ahead. We're just going to drop, we're going to pile them on there. I think you should be able to see that from here. Yeah, okay. So this is you. And then you're like, well, what if I'm going to fail, blah, blah, blah. What if this doesn't work out? Gosh, I regret everything that I've done. And then she's like, she just fucks everything up. that's just her nature. It's, and that's understandable too. She has two conflicting energies in her. She's the princesses represent earth, and she's the earthy part of air. And so, you have to think too, the princesses are kind of, they're also about like manifestation, they're like the energies of like the swords, the cups, the wands, the disc. They are kind of like that energy manifested. And this is, I feel like this is kind of saying, you got to get out of this destructive logic, whatever that is, because you're smarter than that. You know better than that. And this is so nice that it ties into that. This is, you're thinking about how, I feel like this is where your head needs to be at this Nine of Disc here. How can you gain? What is it? And it, again, it could be deal with money, but I feel like too, how can you gain that abundance, whatever that looks like for you? And when you do it, to realize the wisdom that comes out of that. With the Hierophant again, he's very similar to that Prince of Disc. He's like the Prince of Disc, like on steroids, in the sense that, like, when I say he's patient, I'm pretty sure in the description they said the Hierophant only moves like every 2,000 years or something like that. So maybe don't go that slow, but definitely know that there's going to be some work. Be patient, and persevere through that. This is Taurus's card. They're when Taurus starts something, they're going to finish it. So I feel like this is asking you to go to completion. Get that, and two, the Hierophant represents divine wisdom. So I feel like what you're going to get from that is going to feed you in a way that you don't even know. But first, we got to get out of this. We got to get out of this Ten of Swords, Princess of Swords, Seven of Discs, Five of we got to work though. You know, we have a. It seems like there's a lot, not a whole lot, you know, but there are things that we don't want them to get out of hand. You know, right now we're in the Hangman. We do not, you know, at least not right now. I don't think this calls for a Tower moment. So let's, and I know that's kind of hard. You know, Sagittarius are supposed to be like the, kind of like the, they're always on the move. You know, and they're always going to hit their mark. You know, so I feel like this is, I feel like this in this instance is it's cool to go, but sometimes it's kind of nice to slow down just for a second, just to assess what's going on. Because if you rush at it too hard and you go like, oh, I know it all, I got this, then you're just gonna end up burning your house down, you know, or you're gonna just you're fighting yourself. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm feeling with this psychological base here. I won't spend too much time in that. Hopefully that resonates with you. Lastly, with how your future, how your higher self is kind of working behind the scenes, you have the Four of Wands, the Three of Swords, and the Princess of Wands. So with the Four of Wands, this is about completion. I feel like this is asking you, this is like knowledge leads to conclusions. So I feel like how can you take everything that you learned from here, apply that to this energy, and to get to where you're in a better place, you know, to where you can to where you're getting to like this like Nine of Disc energy. You know, how can you the Four of Wands, this kind of ask, it's also too when I see it with this Princess of Swords, or excuse me, the Princess of Wands, the Princess of Wands, I like to think of her as her heart's in the right place. She's so ambitious. She's so bold. I'm all for the energy that the Princess of Wands brings. However, sometimes, and that's kind of tying in with these two over here, the Four of Wands can sometimes represent unreliable outcomes due to thoughtless actions. You know, like it sounded like a good, so you're just like, let's do it, and you see here, that sounds great in theory, you know, let's do it, let's get it done. And that sounds great, but it's also, you gotta kind of, I think it's asking you to be kind of slow down just a hair, because sure, she's got this tiger, this wand, she's got all this fire, it's really cool, but if you look closely, her tiger's asleep. Her tiger's probably hasn't slept all night. She don't have any clothes on. She'll tell you that she planned that, but questionable. I don't want to be judgy, but what's going on with this hat? And then, she's but she's herself. But the thing too, like, I can't be mad at her because she is wholly herself. But I do think that this is telling you it's okay to be ambitious, but be mindful of that, because that could, and that might kind of bum you out a little bit. That's what I'm kind of getting with this Three of Swords energy. I don't feel like you're the type that likes to be told to slow down. Maybe you might be impatient. I'm not pointing any fingers here. This is a judgment-free zone. This is just what I might be. This is what I'm intuitively feeling. That, maybe this, that all this patience and this stopping stuff has really just kind of got you bummed out. It's like you were on a roll, and it's like, or at least what you might have thought was a roll, and it's really not. And that's all I feel like your higher self is saying here too. It's like, listen, I get that I know this doesn't feel great to tell you to slow down and stuff, but it's just like, let's be more strategic in how we're going about spending our energy. Let's just not just throw it out all over the place. Four Wands can also mean rest. This is like, the fires aren't burning like that hot. It's not don't smother your fire. Let's put it on the simmer for right now, and let's take some time. It's Venus and Aries, so this is like, let's take some kind of time, and let's focus on us for a little bit. Let's focus on matters of the heart. Yeah, I like that. Sagittarius. I hope that resonates with you. I get it. Like, I don't like to be told. Hold on, let me transfer you over here. Hey, so yeah, I totally get it. If this is hitting for you, I get it. But I do feel like with time that patience is the name of the game. And once you get through that, get out of this hanged man situation, it's things are gonna start looking up for you. Um, so yeah, that's. I hope that resonated with you. That feels good. I think I'm gonna leave it there. Please like, share, subscribe, and you already know your sun sign since you're here, but make sure to check your moon and your rising, your Mercury, your Venus. You know, because you're more than just a Sagittarius. You know, we all are nuanced. Um, now, for the end, now for I'm doing this little segment here towards the end that I'm calling Celestial News Weekly with Justin, because I don't have a co-anchor yet, unless the cat wants to join me. But this is just basically kind of going over some celestial events real quick, just so you know how the planets are kind of affecting you, and hopefully that'll kind of help you get through this hanged man week that we seem to be going through. Yesterday Pluto went direct, so that calls for bringing some truths to light. Maybe this is the time to what is it really that you're worried about? What is this seven of discs that's weighing? Is there a glare? How can I get those out of glare? There we go. What is the seven of discs that's been weighing on your mind? What is this five of cups? Let's try to. It's about airing out. What is this? More importantly, what is this ten of swords? What is this about? It's a time about airing out some of that stuff that we've sort of like the less attractive, the less pretty emotions and things that we don't like to deal with. It's time to air those out a little bit. I'm not saying take them all at once, but pick one, and let's be with that for a little bit. Today is the full moon in Aries. So, and I know this is gonna, I just told you to be patient, and the moon in Aries is about starting stuff. And that's not to say you don't not start anything. I'm not necessarily, you should never just be just stagnant. But again, just being mindful with how you're going with that energy. At least for you, if you're gonna go do something, I feel like definitely, and really this applies to everyone. But just specifically with how this reading went, go with patience. That's what I would say. No one. I know I'm gonna make this. People are gonna say, Justin, you're using that P word again, but it's true. Sometimes you gotta slow down just like a little bit. Don't necessarily stop, but just slow down. Treat yourself every now and again. Address these things, and then lastly, Mercury goes into or enters Libra tomorrow on the 10th. So, good chance if you. If the poor sucker who first told you to be patient, I don't know if you might have ripped their head off, this is a good time to fix that. If that's the case, that's a bit extreme. But it's just a time for reconciliation, communication is more balanced. Mercury is about communication, and then Libra, they're the scales. So this is about maybe just getting things back in harmony, finding that, did we... I thought you had something for balance. Oh, well, yeah, I'm just going to hold this up, because this does have to do with balance. It's finding harmony and whatnot. So, 2 of Wands. And then, lastly, we got some retrograde things. Thankfully, well, now that Pluto's gone direct, we only have 4 planets in retrograde now. Retrograde is just a time for introspection. It's, I feel like initially when you hear the word retrograde, it's just like, it's not that scary. This is just a time of reflection. Jupiter is going to be in retrograde until the 23rd of November. It rules... I almost made it through without my notes. I always forget what they rule. They rule over it's your ruler. Should have known that. It rules over Sagittarius and Pisces. That is the 9th and 12th house. Yes. And it has to deal with... That's the last time I'm looking at that. And it has to deal with... I did this with Gemini too. I got really comfortable at the end. Let's keep this professional during the news week. It's about, what is it about? Help me, Hierophant. It's about, thank you, Hierophant. This is about doing some soul searching, finding out yourself looking into yourself philosophically. That's the word I'm looking for, and just getting to know yourself on a personal level. You know, this Jupiter's about yeah, philosophy and like expansion of consciousness, divine wisdom. So I feel like this is I feel like this is a good time for you with Jupiter being in retrograde. You know, this might be a good time. Really, you know, your patience, I feel like, is definitely going to pay off. You know, maybe once it starts going out of, I'm not going to put a time on it. You know, that you'll be out of this by Jupiter retrograde, but you know, I feel like this, if you're going to take the time, if there's any time to be in a hanged man situation while Jupiter is still in retrograde, this is the time. Saturn. Saturn's in retrograde until the end of, till the 22nd of this month. It is rules Aquarius. That's the 11th house. And Saturn's rules over time, karma, wisdom, and there's a fourth thing that I had written down, but it's fine. And when Saturn's in retrograde, it's kind of about a time of all right, yeah, I'm gonna have to, we're going to the notes a little bit. It's kind of like a time, there you go. Oh, look at that. We're just, you know what? The Empress has been chilling for a while, but now it seems like the Hierophant was getting a little jealous, so he's going to hang out with me for a little bit. This is about a time to slow things down, time for reevaluation. You know, if you find yourself, man, I tell you, if you find yourself doing the same thing and it's not working, it's time to switch it up. You know, this is a good time. I can't. Well, you both can't hang out. You gotta go back down here. But this is definitely the time to, if you feel like you've been caught in a loop, why are you in that loop? What is going on? You know, and like really ask that. You know, I feel like it's one thing. It's easy to just kind of, when you're bitching about it in the moment, it's just like you're not being mindful of it. It's just adding on to what you're already upset about. But it's like, what is that? You know, why do I feel that way? It's like, you know, it can be a little uncomfortable, you know, but overall it's gonna pay off in the long run. Bet. Uranus is in retrograde till the new year, January 22nd of 2023. So which is honestly awesome, because Uranus is the type, you know, I think I have a better, I'm still going to do a table flipping analogy. Let's say Uranus comes in here, it's like, I don't like how you're doing your reading, and then flips the table over. It's like, what the hell? It's asking you to, did I tell you a little bit about it? Rules by Aquarius is about surprises, innovation, liberation. I feel like I did go through all that. But this is about kind of like, this gives you a chance for like voluntary change. As is, you know, Uranus likes to come in hot sometimes and like surprise you, but this is a time it's just like, okay, I'll leave it up to you this time. Something has to change. What do you want to get up? I'm going to let you pick 5 things that you need to get rid of. Which one do you want to start with? So it's like, it's not ideal, but I can work with that. And then lastly, but not least, Neptune. And again, man, these retrograde times, this is a great time for you, Sagittarius. I really think for those of you who's this really, you know, who's this hitting with, this is the time. Neptune in retrograde. Neptune is responsible for, it rules Pisces in the 12th house. And it's about, you know, it's very mysterious and dreamlike and astral realm and all that stuff. And during the retrograde, this is kind of like addressing what illusions do we tell ourselves. You know, this is what are we ten of sorting? You know, what is that? And how do we deal with these swords? You know, Neptune is in retrograde like 40% of the year. So it's going to be a soft. It's not just going to be like Uranus, just like, you know, this is going to, it's like, we're going to start with this sword, and then we're going to move to the next one, and we're going to move to, you know, I'm trying to go clockwise, but I'm in retrograde. It's fine. But yeah, that's what I have for you here, and thanks for sticking with me through this. I'm definitely going to kind of switch things up as we go along. It's going to be very exciting. I'm not going to spend so much time on retrograde stuff, but it's like, feels like this is just stuff you need to know for the week. Last but not least, this is what you got at the bottom of the deck here. 8 of Swords. Sagittarius. it's time for a fresh perspective, because it's whatever it is, whatever this mentality is, it's interfering with your growth. You know, I feel like so. With this Eight of Swords, it really take this retrograde season. You know, this is the time. Really, let's do some reflection. You know, you have all these good swords here. Why do you got these two sitting on top of you? That's how I look at this Eight of Swords. It's just like, why would I put these two on top of that? I want to be able to access to all of them. Get out of my way. And that's what is. I feel like that's what this card is saying. Get out of your way. You know. But yeah, that's yeah. Hopefully that resonated with you. Yeah, I'm trying not to keep you too long. So hope you have a great week. I will see you on the next one. Let's keep raising the vibration. Later.